Greetings. Today we have a brilliant guest, Eloise Duncan, CEO and founder of the Financial Resilience Institute. She has lived and worked in 6 countries, is a certified management consultant and impact-preneur. As the creator of the Institute's index, Eloise has 25 years of experience in strategic consulting and financial services. Eloise, please let us know a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Thank you so much, Jamila. Lovely to meet you. My name is Eloise. I live in Vancouver. I'm a mother of 3, and I'm an impact-preneur, so I'm very focused on making a difference through my work and through my life. And I founded the Financial Resilience Institute to help improve the financial resilience, health and well-being of all Canadians, including in particular those who are most financially vulnerable or underserved. And this work is really important because there's a really strong connection based on our data between financial well-being and overall well-being of people. And financial stress and financial vulnerability have lots of negative knock-on impacts on the lives of individuals, families, small businesses, and our communities.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much, Eloise. You kind of touched on it a bit, but what really inspired you to bring the Financial Resilience Institute to life?
Thank you so much. Before founding the Institute, through my social enterprise, which was called C.M.C Consulting, I started measuring financial health, resilience and well-being of Canadians because no one was measuring it, and I saw that there was a really big gap there in the ecosystem. So based on all of the data that we started gathering way back in 2017, so this was pre-pandemic, we could see very clearly that financial stress was a big issue for Canadians, negatively impacting their physical health, their emotional health, and the well-being of their families. And that financial vulnerability was actually a big issue, despite people maybe having good paychecks, or people thinking that Canada is a rich country, which it is compared to other countries. And so we started measuring this through the National Financial Wellbeing Study, which is an instrument which measures from an independent longitudinal perspective the financial health well-being of Canadians, but also of Tier 1 bank customers and the extent to which they're helping to improve their customers' financial resilience. Then we started building this index, which is called the C.M.C Financial Resilience Index, and that specifically measures a household's ability to get through financial hardship, stressors and shocks as a result of unplanned life events. So going back to your original question, what inspired me doing work on this area across the country, but also meeting with many Canadians, I felt very strongly that life events, both planned and unplanned, can have an enormous negative impact on people. So divorce, disability, death, other financial stressors and shocks. And so what I was seeing was that was having a really big impact on people, but they weren't necessarily getting the support they needed. And then we also saw that policymakers, they do a great job at trying to provide support to households that need it most. But income alone is not necessarily the right measure. And we need to look at other measures which are more holistic and forward-looking in nature. So that's why I developed the index. It took 5 years of sweat, toil, and labor. And then we evolved things into the Not-for-Profit Institute, specifically because the index is really a community asset. And I wanted it to be used to shine a light on those Canadians that are most financially vulnerable, to do good in the world through data and evidence, highlighting to policymakers, financial institutions, not-for-profits, and other purpose-driven organizations where targeted support was needed most. And what the index does is it brings longitudinal impact measurement to the table. So now organizations who use it, and they can get benchmark data against the index, they can actually measure their impact over time. So they can measure the extent to which their customers or their employees or their communities' financial resilience is improving, and they can measure the impact of certain interventions. as well as impacts around well-being and all of that. So we felt that a not-for-profit model was going to be a better way to drive collaboration, lever and maintain the index as a community asset, and be part of an ecosystem where we're really using it and driving partnerships with organizations like Setsi to drive positive change in a way that is meaningful.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. And it's almost like divine work, because you kind of came in right at perfect timing just before pandemic. So even though it's blood, sweat, and tears, it's definitely positive seeds that you're planting. So at Setsi, through our work in partnership with TD Canada, we implemented an economic well-being initiative to strengthen the capacity of communities we serve. So in your opinion, what are the emerging opportunities and, let's say, gaps in financial literacy capacity building in Canada?
Great question. So, I mean, we can see through our data, so we are measuring many financial inclusion gaps, financial literacy gaps, and also challenges for Canadians and those who are most financially vulnerable through the index. And what we can see is that there are definitely opportunities for institutions like TD and like all of the other institutions to lever their assets to support their customers over time and their communities over time in a way that's meaningful, and provide more targeted support as well to customers that may be, for example, approaching resilience and then they slip backwards because of an unplanned life event, or to support people with more targeted or relevant products and services, financial literacy and engagement that actually helps them maintain or improve their financial resilience and well-being in ways that are important to them, because one size does not fit all. We can see, for example, that we're measuring the gap between men and women from financial resilience perspective. When you look at it the next layer down, we see there are differences, millennial women versus Gen X women versus, and then there's differences when you look at women who are single parents or facing specific challenges or stressors. So I think from our data based on financial wellness delivery support, but also our data around financial inclusion challenges and the gaps that people face in terms of accessing affordable credit, accessing relevant products and services to help them build their financial literacy, accessing digital tools and supports that can help them understand, maintain, and improve their financial resilience. Many different data points highlight that there are lots of opportunities for the ecosystem to do more, not just from a delivery perspective, but also working with partners, with not-for-profits and others to have impact in communities. So yeah, we see tremendous potential, and this is a journey, and I think it's about recognizing that this is building on great initiatives that are already in play, building on the strengths of these organizations, and sort of building on a lot of commitment around helping to build a more resilient, equitable, and inclusive Canada.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, knowledge is power, so they say, and there's a lot of great information that you guys are providing, that you're bringing up for us to see, and as you said, continue to grow and bring order to, right? So Setsi currently has built what we call a social innovation index and a Black business index to amplify and profile leaders within important ecosystems. I would love to hear more about the index you have developed, the data you have gathered, and let's say the brilliant ways this data can be used.
Thank you. So the index is called the C.M.C Financial Resilience Index. It is a proprietary index model, but it's being levered by the Institute as a community asset for good. The index is the first of its kind in the world. It does have a pre-pandemic baseline of February 2020, which is very important. And it builds on about 7 years of longitudinal financial well-being studies data, which is very robust data. So what it does is it measures household financial resilience, which we define as a household's ability to get through financial hardship, stresses, and shocks as a result of unplanned life events. And it measures that at the Canadian level, so national, provincial level, segment, and for right down to individual households and for bank customers. And so if any organization wants to use the index, they can also essentially measure their customers or their employees' financial resilience, levering the benchmark data as well. So that's a little bit about the index itself. It has been peer reviewed by Statistics Canada, UNPRB. It's being used by wonderful organizations like Vancity Credit Union, cooperators, and others. And we really feel that it's something that can complement the existing data, more traditional data and transactional data that banks or financial institutions may have, to shine a light and give a different lens on their customers and communities. It can also be used by policymakers to help inform where policies and programs can be more targeted. We know that affordability is a major issue and one of the 3 focus priority areas for the government. And we know that they're very focused on well-being. So through the index and the complementary financial well-being studies data, we're able to join the dots in terms of measuring the impact of, for example, financial stress on well-being of Canadians. We're able to track the key challenges such as food insecurity, housing affordability, and other real social problems facing Canadians, and look at that not just for Canadians overall, but those who are most financially vulnerable based on the index. So it's got lots and lots of applications, to be honest. And but we really want it to be used so that values-aligned organizations can essentially do more for their customers and communities, and can also drive benefits for their organizations. What we see is that, so that's all from the B2B perspective, Jamila, yeah? But from the B2C perspective, we see from our data that 75% of Canadians want to better understand their financial resilience and how they can improve it. Like, they really want to, and we can see that they are working really hard from a behavioral perspective to basically do as well as they can, even despite facing significant financial hardship, which we're measuring. We're seeing big gaps with our data. And so we are also really about fostering financial inclusion and financial empowerment for Canadians themselves. And so one of the things that we can do through the index as well as, and we will be launching a free financial resilience score tool for everyone, so that you can go in and check and understand your financial resilience. Over time, our vision is that would then be connected to tools and resources, so that people can be empowered as well to not only understand their financial resilience, but then maybe, go to banks, go to other organizations and get more targeted support based on their score, which is a different lens, different view on their assets or their credit score, for example.
Right. Yeah. Because a lot of people don't even know that they can go and ask for this information, right? But Eloise, it's like you beat me to the next question.
Oh, sorry.
So the question is, are there any emerging initiatives, partnerships, or projects you're currently working on that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so I think the financial resilience score tool one is definitely one. We have a partnership with Prosper Canada, this amazing not-for-profit that does work with low-income Canadians to support their financial health. So we will continue to measure and track the financial resilience of low-income Canadians specifically, and continue to advocate for change there. We are measuring the impact of climate change on household financial vulnerability, and we can see there's a very clear association with that. So there are many different ways that we will be using the index model to highlight and spotlight areas where the ecosystem can drive change going forward. Those are just a few examples, but our institute is still new, and we're very keen to collaborate with values-aligned partners. But we also see just a tremendous need just to build awareness around the index and that it even exists.
Right. Yeah. But hey, I mean, you're doing it, and it's only going to continue to expand in like the awareness of Canadians, right? It's only going to expand. So you're doing the work. I'd like to say, do you have a call to action for Canadians and stakeholders related to financial resilience?
It's a great question. I mean, I think anyone who is interested in this topic, and there are many people doing wonderful work in this area, but anyone who's interested in this topic, I would encourage them to go to our website, which is www.finresilience.org. And if they're interested, we have a number of free reports which really highlight what's going on for Canadians, including those who are more financially vulnerable. We did just release our data from our February 2022 and 2023 index. So that's one call to action. I think another call to action is, if anyone listening to this is also very focused on financial health or well-being, please reach out to us, and we would love to explore collaboration opportunities. We will be releasing a our first subscriber report. So that is also an opportunity if any organizations are interested in accessing our index data in a cost-effective way. We're providing sort of tiered pricing so that it's affordable for smaller organizations too. Please feel free to reach out there. And then, yeah, check out and look out for the free financial resilience score tool. We're also doing work just pro bono and for good. So there's also, just reach out if there's any knowledge sharing opportunities or collaboration with us as well.
Yeah, I love that. Like, anyone can basically reach out. There should be no resistance at all.
Yeah.
Reach out to Eloise, reach out, and definitely collaborate. And last question, or are there any closing thoughts or anything extra that you'd like to say?
No, I mean, I'm just so grateful for this opportunity. And, you know, I do feel that there's a forward momentum in this whole area. I do feel that there is a hunger for the data and for robust impact measurement that's independent. So I do feel that there's huge opportunities for our ecosystem. But I also feel that we're just at the beginning of a journey in a way, and we have to collaborate together and lever our collective strengths to help Canadians. But this work based on our data is more critical than ever. You know, we have huge issues with financial vulnerability across Canada. We have huge negative impacts on well-being, and more help, more targeted support is absolutely needed. And we saw that there were problems before the pandemic. We saw that there were some slight improvements when people were being buffered by government relief and had changed their behaviors hugely. But now in our post-pandemic inflationary environment with rising interest rates or high interest rates and food insecurity and other challenges, like, the need for this work is more important than ever. It is more important than ever.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Amazing. I mean, it's all kind of manifesting right on time. Like you said, there's a lot of financial pressures that are happening at this time. And I think one thing in speaking with you, I'm not sure if you mentioned it during this interview or if it was before the interview, but you know, as you said, it does, the amount that a household makes doesn't always, you know, kind of state whether or not they are having financial issues. And So, I mean, it definitely is, you know, cross board across Canada, and something that I too feel is going to kind of ramp up. And I think you guys are ready. I mean, you keep saying that you're new, but I think you're ready for just the next step and stage and what comes in the process.
No, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for that, Jamila. And you know what? You really, it's profound what you say, and I should have got that across before because you're bang on. Like, we see from the data that household vulnerability spans all household income demographics.
Right.
And you can earn $50,000 and you can have a decent credit score, and underneath you are extremely vulnerable as a result of your behaviors or a lack of social capital. And you can be really challenged. And then people's financial resilience can improve or get worse through unplanned life events and other stressors and shocks. And we need to acknowledge that this is a journey for people, and people need to be encouraged and empowered to move forward and be supported by the ecosystem to access the resources and help that's available to them. So, yeah.
Yeah, wow, I love that. Thank you, Eloise. This was amazing. We give thanks, infinite gratitude, as I say, for the work that you and your team do and for all the insight that you've brought to us today. I know that everyone watching has kind of been impacted. I think that's the right word to use, has been impacted in hopefully a positive way. And again, reach out to Eloise and her team for any kind of collaboration. Again, she's open to literally anyone reaching out and just starting a conversation. But again, Eloise, thank you so much for your time, your energy, and to those watching, we will catch you in the next video.
Thank you, Jamila.
Thank you.